I'm left behind, obeyed the light, but always a gone. You fool me at the bottom line, I lie afraid. Are we in the same place? Falling. I'll be the wake-up call, I'll be the siren. It's nothing personal, but don't try to fight it. I'm left behind, obeyed the light, but always a gone. You fool me at the bottom line, I lie.
You lost, Zoe.
Are we in the same place?
You captured Zone C.
Falling.
Lost Zone
I'll
C.
be the wake-up call,
You captured Zone
be
A.
the siren. It's nothing personal, but don't try to fight it. I should have known, I would have known. I didn't know the answers. Break it down, fade it out. I'm calling on a broken telephone. I should have known, I would have known. I didn't know the answers. Break it down, fade it out. I'm calling on a broken telephone.
There was a time when you had me falling to the ground, like a king without a crown. Whoa. Why you make it hard? Don't let me down. You might as well be lost, but I'm found. I'm waiting for your love. You just keep me hanging on, and I deserve to stay, and I'll find my way. Just know you're not alone, 'cause I'm your home. I wanna be with you always. Know you're not alone, 'cause I'm your home. In the dark we fight. You take the wrong and you make it right. Like a firefly, you're glowing at night. So don't make it hard, don't let me go. I wanna hold you tight when you're cold. I'm waiting for your love. You just keep me hanging on. I deserve to stay, and
Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little benchmark video. It's a bit different from the last one actually. I honestly think the last one went a little bit better. But that's also because my shadow play was actually working fine. In this video, for some reason, my shadow play wasn't recording the FPS marker. But after reviewing the footage and after playing the game for a little bit more, I can safely say that the benchmarks on that game are a little bit lower than what you actually gonna expect. When I was doing the benchmark for the 1440p extreme preset with super sampling, it actually seemed like I was getting an average of 40 to 45 FPS with maybe dips to the 30s sometimes. And comparing that to the average we were getting in those benchmarks, I think it's a little bit better. So if you're thinking that, you know, oh my gosh, I can't run this game just because the average says 30 FPS, you're probably going to be getting a few FPS extra on top of that. So don't worry too much. These benchmarks are more of like the worst case scenario. Think of it like that. You're most likely gonna end up dropping to those figures anyway, but it won't happen as consistently as you might think. And now to do something I haven't done in the last video, I think it's actually a good idea to kind of go over the settings and kind of customize them for like lower end PCs. Have a look at which settings make the biggest difference. Okay, so texture filtering, that as usual makes quite a big difference, but I wouldn't worry too much about it. If you have like a 1060 or anything below that, I would probably leave it at 8. In the worst case scenario, I would turn it down to 4, but I don't think that makes such a huge difference. Anti-aliasing, during those tests, I left anti-aliasing on at TAA, but that's not what I usually play with. I think MSAA is probably the best preset. And especially if you're playing in 1440p, you're not gonna need anything better than MSAA anyway. Anti-aliasing is literally the first thing I do when I can't run a game properly at a stable 60 FPS. I turn that down. Next one is the render scaling. That kind of messes with the resolution a little bit. Render resolution. You can turn it down to like 25. I would personally leave it at 100%. Geometric detail, that's just the detail, the texture quality. I would leave that at high or extreme unless you're really struggling, but texture quality I think is the most important, so I always leave that as high as I can. Geometric detail, if you cannot run the game at a stable 60 FPS, let's say, I would turn it down a little bit. It's not gonna make a huge difference. Dynamic shadows as well, I would turn the shadows down. Environmental detail as well, you can leave it. Ambient occlusion is one of those things that also takes a big toll on your performance. I would honestly turn it as low as possible. You don't really need HBAO Plus or MHBAO. Dynamic reflections, that's personal preference. Motion blur, that's also personal preference really, but I always turn it off. I really don't like how it looked. And the last thing you're gonna get in those options is super sampling. Now that takes a massive toll on your performance. It hits it hard. I would say it hits it even as low as 200%. So definitely don't use that. Even if you got like a 1080 like me, as you can see, I was running it at 30 FPS. It might be playable for some games, but if you're playing like an action-packed game, just leave it off for your own good. And now just to quickly finish up the video, I'm gonna do a little benchmark with customized settings, as I'd like to call it, or a bit more optimized settings if you're running on lower end hardware. Now obviously if this benchmark will be done at 1440p because I have a 1080, but if you play on 1080p, you can just turn that down to 1080p and leave the rest of the settings as I just mentioned. And if you're still struggling, then you can turn some of those settings down even further. Enjoy.